Today's guest is someone who is completely redefining what it means to be organised, not just in our homes, but in our lives. Lisa Woodruff is the founder and CEO of Organised 365, a productivity expert, author, and host of the Organised 365 podcast, which has over 25 million downloads. For more than a decade, Lisa has been helping women reduce overwhelm, clear mental clutter, and create systems that actually work in the reality of modern life. What I love most about Lisa's work is she goes deeper than surface level organisation. She's leading the conversation around invisible work, the mental load that so many women carry, and how that impacts our time, our energy, and even our ability to think and create. In this episode, we talk about her journey from stay-at-home mum to entrepreneur at age 40, the real reason so many of us feel constantly behind, and her brand new book, Escaping Quicksand, which explores how we can start prioritising our own needs without guilt. This is such a powerful and practical conversation, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Thank you for being here again for the Can I Get a Refill podcast. If you're new here, I'm Steph, I'm your host, and I help women stop pouring from an empty cup and start building a life that actually supports them. Jump on my website today, www.canigetarefillpodcast.com.au, linked below, to download your free ebook on 7 steps to protect your energy and fill up your cup, to ensure that you have the strongest foundation from which to build all areas of success in your life. Download it today to prioritise yourself. Okay, now let's jump in. Hello, my cup fillers, and welcome back to the Can I Get a Refill podcast. We are very blessed to be joined by international guest today, Lisa Woodruff. Lisa, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm very, very excited. And as I was just saying to you off air, I'm so grateful that you sent me your upcoming book, Escaping Quicksand. For everyone on YouTube can see this, and please ignore my nails that I ran out of time to paint. But I said I have the hugest to be read list because every guest I've been interviewing has had a book and I haven't finished it. This is the first time I haven't finished a guest book, but I have recently started it. It is fantastic. You're a very good writer. What I love most, Lisa, and I'm so excited to talk about, is for women, especially, let's say over 35 or 40 and up, the noise and the mind chatter of organising everyone in your life. And I've got goosebumps because I'm just remembering reading your story of your father who's since passed. You were in your 30s when he passed, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and you're driving to go see him and meet your sister and sort his affairs out while he was unwell. Then you're calling your husband and, organising him, and then you've got a babysitter and you're trying to organise your kids' medication, and it took an hour on the phone to tell them the order to put it in. That is my whole life. I'm up at like 4 or 5 a.m. doing that, what I call the invisible work that, my husband wakes up and doesn't see it just looks like a neat house, but all the work I've done and getting my son's bag packed for daycare and his lunch and just organising everything. And it's the mental toll that takes on a woman, and the exhaustion and the burnout. Do you agree? Is that what brought you to write this book specifically?
Yes. So that's what brought me to start the company the year that I turned 40. Writing this book now in my 50s, we get to these seasons of life where life just feels untenable. And we're like, you got to be kidding me. I cannot do this for one more day, let alone for another 60 years. Like, this cannot be my story. Somebody call the director, get a new script. I would like a new script. Yeah. And we need to live through those seasons. Caregiving for children is an obvious one, but also as you get older, then you get into caregiving for adults. And that's not necessarily on a timetable like caring for children is. And once we get into these situations where we feel so overwhelmed, how do you get out? Now, I have programs for getting organized and putting systems in place. And you can read a self-help audiobook and you can go to therapy. And there are all these things that you can do that we tactically do and we see other people doing. But when I sat down to write this book, I was like, I don't think I need to write another book on how to get organized or the best way to organize your underwear drawer. I want to really write the book about what were the mental mindset shifts that I made in my 40s that allowed all those outward actions to actually take root and manifest into the positive, productive person I am today. It wasn't just the actions I did. It was also how I changed my thinking about the actions I was doing. As people become productive, how do they become productive? You don't really realize it. No one really sits back and thinks about how did I go from reactive, overwhelmed, depressed, and overweight to positive, proactive, and in control, it's not just a nutrition and an exercise regimen. It's not just decluttering your house. You have to change your mindset for it to stick.
Yes. Yeah. It's where everything starts, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I find so interesting that for you it was 40. I feel like for me 40 was that clincher of assessing my life and going, some things need to change, like otherwise it was getting to that point of stop the world, I want to get off kind of thing, where it's just too much for one person, for your mental state, but you sort of almost in a way don't realize it while you're in it. So for me, it was being on maternity leave or just having that little bit of a pause to go, oh no, I need to have a breather. Some things need to change. Something's not working that I just feel this burnt out all the time. So I'm so excited to finish your book. I'm loving it so much. So I'm not sure when this episode will air, but for everyone, this is coming out on June 23rd, which is the day before my birthday. I'll have you know, Lisa. And I will link this in the show notes and the YouTube description. So everyone do check this out. It's just so great to have tools like that to help women. And you just mentioned you have a podcast too, so I'll link that as well. I haven't started listening to that, so I'll do that as well. We have so much to discuss. I have so many questions, so let's jump into the first one. You started your business at 40 after being a stay-at-home mum. What was the biggest mindset shift you had to make to step into entrepreneurship at that stage of life, which I know is an overwhelming stage of life?
Yeah, we kind of inversed our roles. So I was raised by entrepreneurs and salespeople. So being an entrepreneur was not an unusual, kind of like, I guess, we're the people work for. I didn't even really thought about going and working for someone else. Now, when I was a teacher, obviously I worked in a school, but when I think about business, I'm like, I think about owning a business. Like that's just the way I was raised. But my entire life aim was to get married and have children and be a stay-at-home mom. It's like all I ever wanted. I got a teaching degree because my mom said you must get a college degree. And I was like, okay, well, if I ever have to work, I want summers off with my kids. Like I just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom.
So would you say that your that built-in real want and need was to be a mum, but the degree was because of the outside conditioning? Okay. Yep.
Yes, totally. And then we weren't able to get pregnant, so we ended up adopting our children when I was 28 and 29. So my 20s were largely, being a teacher and like nesting and getting ready for this ultimate goal that I had. So when I started my company at 40, it's almost like I'd lived my entire lifetime already. Like every goal I'd ever set for myself, I had achieved, and I didn't have any more goals. Like I literally was living my dream life, and I didn't know what happened after that.
But how did that make you feel? Because I was listening to someone talk this morning that where we're so big on the achieving and the goal setting that once you do something, like rich people are like, okay, now I'm going to go into space because it's like we don't know how to appreciate what we've got because we're on to the next thing. How did that feel once you ticked everything off? Did it feel a sense of satisfaction or a sense of what do I do now?
Well, it's felt a set of satisfaction in that, we had children and I had this family that I loved, but it was, what the heck do I do now? I hadn't really thought through the fact that these kids were going to eventually need to learn to drive, which meant they needed cars or how to pay for college or how to have independent, I hadn't thought about how expensive kids get in their teenage years and early 20s. And then reflecting back about how I needed help from my parents and my parents paid for college. And now I'm going to pay for the math.
And then that realization of, and that realization of, oh no, now I'm the adult. It's me who has to pay for that. Yeah.
Right. And I think my parents getting divorced in my 30s and then my father falling ill and then settling his estate, which there was a little inheritance there, which was wonderful. We redid our kitchen and then sent our kids to one more year of private school. But then that money was gone. And there's also that feeling of like, here I am at 40 and my dad is gone. Like that financial, we didn't ask my dad for money, but if you needed to, you could have, right?
You knew he was there. Mm-hmm. Yes. It's a scary feeling. Yeah.
Very scary. And our expenses were spiraling out of control in the wrong direction. And my husband has always had the same exact job since the day after he graduated college. His company's been bought and sold 6 times, and he's still sitting there doing his job. And so that is job security, but not freedom of income earning. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't stay in an income or like a teaching position because my kids needed me more hours than the teaching would allow. And so I kind of was between this rock and this hard place in the best way possible because I was completely equipped to be an entrepreneur. And I was just being stubborn and saying, well, you know, why me and how me? And like, there's no way that I could possibly do this. And the more I pressed into it, I was like, why not me? Like, why not? Why couldn't I?
Maybe it wasn't being stubborn so much as being comfortable. And you said a line, I interrupted you earlier, I apologize. You said a line that was exactly the line I said last year when I left. I've worked for people since 1998. And then last year I tried to go back when I had my son and I was like, oh, I can't. So now I work for myself and my husband's business. And the line that I said to my husband, we need to go for a walk. We threw my son in the pram. I went for a walk on my lunch break and I said, the math ain't mathing. And I'm so glad you said that line. And that's, you know, and that's the world for women too, really. Like when you need double income now and you're supposed to raise these children and pick them up at 3, but you're working till 5 and then then they've got school holidays and you don't have that much annual leave. So I love that line of the math ain't mathing. That, you know, and you know when things, you can perceive them as a negative experience, but they're not. It's that shift into something that's just more aligned or suited to you. So we all need that moment to assess things and go, no, there has to be more. And entrepreneurship, it's not for everybody. It's hard, but it's that freedom of no one's telling you what to do. it's a wonderful
you get to choose
feeling.
Which 23 hours a day you work.
Yeah. And you do it, you know, I find, do you find this, that you always work that little bit harder when it's your name on something, your business, the profits are going to you? Do you find that?
Well, I think that if I'm not going to succeed, it's not going to be an effort problem. You know, maybe you don't have product market fit. Maybe you don't have enough visibility. Women are pretty scrappy. It's usually not capital. Capital isn't our problem. Like, because we're used to doing things like that. But it's really more of a, you didn't tell enough people about yourself or you didn't get visible enough. And you don't have to be hugely visible. Like my social media numbers are okay, but they're not great. They've been the same for like the last 6 years. I have never gone viral for anything. And I've been in business 15 years, but I pay myself well and I pay my team well and we have profit sharing. And I mean, like, you don't have to make bajillions and trillions of dollars and go public and be venture backed and Like you can have a really, really nice solopreneur or small business and make a great living for yourself and, you know, a couple of key hires.
No, I agree with that. And, you know, look, social media followings don't always translate to profit. You know, like that popularity can be a very different thing to financial success. And there's so many businesses and even just like, you know, like one-on-one coaches I interview with a very small social media following, but with a very loyal community and they're having a very good living. So, yeah, that's why I went off TikTok. I'm like, oh, I'm too old for this. It's not. I went on for a few months and I was like, this is not. I
have an account, but I've never logged in. If there's anything posted on there, it's some graphic designer I had in my 20s at some point. Right. It was like, oh, Lisa needs to be over here. Lisa's never been over there. It is me. It's not AI, but I don't even know how to log in. So I'm just telling you. I'm on Instagram. That's as far as I can go.
I'm an Instagram. I mean, you're Generation X. I'm Y, but we're right in that Instagram model, I think. Instagram's the best. Come on. Everyone knows that. Before we move on to the next question, Lisa, I remembered something in your book. As a child, I had an unrealistic fear of getting stuck in quicksand. The Generation X childhood was unique, to say the least, and quicksand was a real fear. I have to ask you if your fear of quicksand was the same as mine because of the never-ending story. Was that part of it?
No. No, it wasn't the never-ending story. So the Princess Bride movie?
Oh, you know,
where they fall into the quicksand?
Is that Robin Wright Penn? Is that the movie I'm thinking of?
You know what? I never know the people. My husband would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're on a podcast. And you're like, I don't know who it is.
I've never watched it.
I don't know who it is. I should probably Google it. I don't know. It's a quirky movie. It's, you know, one of those cult classics. It's probably better when it first came out than to watch it now. You're like, what is this?
You can't watch them for the first time now. You can rewatch them and feel nostalgic, but you can't. I tried to watch Labyrinth, the David Bowie one, for the first time, and I was like, no, it's
any of those 1980s ones, when you watch it today with your understanding, you're like, this was not rated like triple R. You let like 13-year-olds watch this? How did you think that the way we talked this way was like socially acceptable? In the 80s it was, people.
You had to be there,
Hindsight is
right?
2020.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was that. And then also I really I don't know where else I heard about quicksand, but I was like, what if you get stuck in quicksand and there's not a branch? Like, what's going to happen? Like you're going to go under. Like, it was very prevalent.
Fear.
We talked about quicksand a lot in
That
the 80s.
and
I don't know why. Yes. Yes.
No, seriously, they're a concern. They're a dead set
Well, those
concern.
are actually, I mean, my husband grew up in Florida. Like, sinkholes were like a thing. You could like.
Yeah, but you seem to have a lot more. I feel like every time I see them, they're either in Asia or the US, like online.
Oh, we got everything in the US. You know, everything.
You got everything. Yeah, it's a big country.
We got everything. We got it all. Don't worry about it. We've got everything.
Lisa, you talk a lot about making invisible work visible. And I did touch on this in the intro. What is invisible work and why is it such a huge source of overwhelm, especially for women?
So I've just recently completed my PhD. And I'm coming up with a theoretical framework about how I view households. And now that I'm in my 50s and old, and I've been researching households really since I was a child, looking at my grandparents' households, a lot of what we talk about in like our mom to mom conversations or girlfriend to girlfriend is like, oh my gosh, there's so much laundry. I'm never going to be able to keep up with the dishes. Why do these kids have to eat so often? I feel like all I do is go to the grocery store, make food, go to the grocery store, make food. And we talk about the visible work that we're doing. And then we're like, ooh, I organized my pantry. You want to come see it? Because like we want to show off our project that we did for a friend. Because we want to get, we want to get credit.
Show
like,
that off.
Come see my closet. Look, I organized it by sleeve length. And we're like so excited. We got to show a friend so we can get credit for our project that we did in secret that no one's grading anymore. But we would like to get oh yeah, it is good. Okay, you do yours. I'll come see yours. So we talk about the things we can see. But then there's all of this invisible work. And in academia, we've been talking about how men and women divide the visible housework and parent load. And more recently, we're talking about the invisible load and that's where stress and anxiety comes from. And in studies, they have women describe like, what is your invisible work? The number one thing that comes up is planning. Just the never ending
100%.
Planning, replanning, contingency planning. Oh shoot, now it's raining. Okay, new plan. Yeah. Like planning the holidays, planning the school, planning the week, planning the vacation, just planning everything. And then telling people to do stuff and then making sure they do it. Like, hey, could you take out this? Okay, you do that. I said, take out that. I'm gonna. But you didn't take it out yet. Can you take it out yet?
Oh my God.
I had a note for my son. He's 25. He missed his doctor's appointment. So, of course, I had to pay the $50, like I missed the doctor's appointment fee. And then he works for me. So I'm like, go make that doctor's appointment, like 5 days in a row. Then I'm working from home one day and I've got a note next to my phone. And every time I look over, it says, did Joey make the appointment? So I text him, did you make it? Did you make like, and it's like, he's like, Mom, I'm like, look, there's a piece of paper here. And until you tell me you told me, I can't throw it away.
Right. They're giving us more
the
work.
appointment.
They're giving us more work by not doing these things. And then if it's something they have done, oh, of course I've done it. Why are you, like nagging me? Because you let me down all the time. So
and if you don't make this appointment, they won't refill your meds. And then it's going to be a Saturday, always a Saturday, not a Sunday. Yes. A Saturday at 9 p.m. where you'll go, I'm out of meds. I'm not a pharmacist. We can't even get a hold of your doctor until Monday. They won't do an emergency.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that is the invisible load.
Yes. My husband's one job this morning was wake up our son. Like I had his breakfast ready, lunch packed, bag packed for daycare, everything good to go, clothes laid out. You just had to wake him up. I come out of the bathroom from doing my makeup for this podcast and my husband's in the kitchen getting his breakfast and the son's still sleeping in the bed. I lost it. I was like, you had one job. I made it so easy. It's so frustrating. I just think that they have one-track minds. I mean, I know that I don't want to come in here and always be men are like this, women are like this, but the men I know are like, I'm doing this today for work and that's all I focus on. And we're just, have you ever seen the movie Meet Joe Black with Brad Pitt? You don't know the people, but.
Probably. I don't know. My husband picks the shows.
Brad Pitt is like death. He's like a hot Grim Reaper, right? And he says to Anthony Hopkins, while you were, doing one task this morning, like I was doing that one task, but then also doing a million tasks at the same time. And I was like, well, that's women every day.
Yes, yes,
I might be doing just.
I want to do the scientific study now that I'm a doctor to prove that multitasking is a thing. Like I know that they say it's not a thing, but also I think it is a thing. Or maybe we're just really good choreographers. Maybe we don't actually multitask, but I'm telling you, it looks like I am a chicken with my head cut off, running around the downstairs on a Saturday morning. But if you really watch it as if it was a beautiful play, you would notice at the end, the laundry's done, the dishes are done, the kitchen is clean, the house is like, but as you're watching, it's like, she's here, she's there, she's over here. What is she even doing? But at the end, I'm tying it all with a beautiful bow and everything's done. Kind of like when I make Thanksgiving dinner and everything comes out at the same time, ready to be served. Like that is multitasking or really fast sequencing. I don't know. We're amazing.
We are so amazing.
We are so amazing.
But I like to plan. I'm a real planner. I was the girl that got really excited at the beginning of the school year to get my new stationery and contact my books. And I like planning, but planning everything for the whole family, for everyone all the time, it is mentally draining. And what I always say is that decision fatigue too, which is why I get so sick of thinking about dinners to cook and why I used to love wearing a uniform to work, because even just like coming up with an outfit is exhausting. But, this comes up a lot with my guests, that, running theme of women are exhausted because they're just doing that much more planning, and every sort of organization is going to you for the emailing, like daycare will come to me, the real estate for our investment property will come to me. So I'm just doing that much more. What's the solution then? Like, do we get men to pitch in more?
Okay, so I don't know how good you are at getting other people to do things that you're not doing, but I am not good at it. I will say a couple things. One, my husband will say, you're in charge because you want to be. And I agree. I do. I want to be in charge. Okay, so that's fair. Also, men really like to eat. So if you want to delegate something completely, you could delegate food. You could do it in a nice way, or you can do it the way I did it. So I was probably in my mid-40s, probably perimenopause, now that I know that's a thing. Also, Gen Xers didn't find out about perimenopause. You millennials are telling us all, like, that's perimenopause and we aren't putting up with this. We're like, oh.
I just found out a few months ago when I interviewed someone.
Said something about them. Or anyways, probably in perimenopause, who knows? They weren't helping us at that time. So I was driving 25 hours a week with these kids who were like 14, 15 years old. The kids are real close in age. And I was never at home. And I love fast food. I don't eat it all now, but I used to eat fast food all the time. And so did the kids, because I'm not a good example. I don't know what to tell you. So my husband will come home from work and eat lunch because, he still has a 1 hour lunch break in this same job he's had for the last 37 years. He comes home, lets the dog out, eats his lunch, goes back to work. So I was contemplating on drive hour number 23 that I didn't want to go to the grocery store that weekend, because also I never eat anything that we buy and I throw it all away. So this was like a futile exercise. And I said to him, I came home and I said, you know what? I don't go to the grocery store anymore. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah, I eat fast food, they eat fast food, or they buy it or whatever. Like, I'm just not going to go anymore. And he said, how are we going to get food in the house? And I said, well, here's the thing. You have a car, you have a credit card, and you know where the grocery store is. So I guess you're going to go to the grocery store. I kid you not. I don't go to the grocery store.
Say that.
I now get my food delivered from the grocery for me because I eat a different diet than everybody else. Right. And I put a lot of food at my office. So I stock my fridge at the office. But my husband 5 or 6 years later was like, this will be fun. Let's go to the grocery store together. I found a new grocery store. I bought a plant and I was wandering in the cracker aisle. He's like, what are you doing? I said, I don't know how to function in this store. He's like, get out of here. Get out of here. So I say that way because there is a lot. Like, to this day, I don't even think my husband knows any of our kids' doctors, and they have dozens of doctors, like so many doctors. It's ridiculous. I am not even if he said I will take the kids or the grandkids in this case, I'll be like, no, I'm taking off work. I'm going. I'm in charge of medical. Like that. Yeah. I want to know this. Yeah. Food, zero desire. I could care less. Like, I don't care. If you want to make me food, great. If you don't, I'll figure it out. I'll have cereal. I'm fine. And so when you have something like that, anything like that, where you can literally hot potato it and you give it up entirely and you don't even care what the outcome is, it is very free. But there aren't a lot of things you could do that way. And I just think women have more capacity to juggle it.
But, and I know that delegate is the solution, but I think it's that lack of trust. Like, you just know that you get things done. Well, when I say right, I get things done the way I like it. So, but that's funny you say food, because if I'm really low on time, my husband's like, well, let me do the grocery shopping. So every now and then I'll...
Because he wants to eat. They like to eat.
Yeah, well,
These
no,
men want to eat.
he definitely eats no matter what. But I do enjoy grocery shopping. I really like it. Occasionally I'll do online ordering, have it delivered, but I like walking around the shops, and I go to 2 different shops and I pick the best options, and that one's more affordable, but that's
Give
got
you
the
a
brand
couple
I
years,
like.
you could give it up.
You know what? He has recently been helping out a few times, and he hasn't missed anything off the list. And normally he really does. Like, he'll have very concise lists and they're just completely blank on things. But he really nailed it. And I'm like, okay, great. That's something that, gave me extra time to edit a podcast while he was out getting the grocery shopping and food's delivered here. So, no, it's true. It's definitely delegating. But I get why we don't want to. Because if they get things wrong, it's like that thing of, if you want something done right, do it yourself. And that's why I don't let go of the reins a lot. Because, because other people will not do it the way you need it done. And I just find that sometimes when I let people do things, I then have to redo it.
Okay, but let's just push back in this grocery example. Let's say your husband forgets a couple of things. 2 options. Yeah. 1, send him back to the store.
Yeah.
And
he's always willing. Yeah.
Right. Or 2, order those items delivery.
Yes. No, you're right. There's
you
always
don't need to take
solutions.
it all back yourself. So the reason I say that is because there will be a tipping point where you can't do the parenting and the working and all of the housework, because running a household takes anywhere from 20 to 40 hours a week, not including childcare.
Yes. Yes.
So if you want to keep that job, it is a full-time job on top of your full-time job, on top of your parenting job.
Yes.
You're going to break. So we must look at our household as the economic entity it is. In the United States, it's 68% of U.S. GDP. So how we spend our household at home is how the entire American economy runs. I'm sure it's similar in the UK and in Australia. Yeah. So it is a job. Operationalize it. Define your key priorities. Divide the work fully and the responsibility of that. If you forgot the things, I guess you're going back to the store because this is your department. I don't do food.
Fantastic, Lisa. You know what you're doing? You're removing emotion from things. It's like it's a workplace. It's a job.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Yeah.
And my husband's favorite line for his staff is just get it done. No, that's true. It's removing the emotion. I got to do that more. But I also think that if you're a perfectionist personality, you're less likely to want to let things go. But if you do what you say and just look at it like a business or a workplace, it's true.
Okay. So you haven't gotten to this chapter yet. Step 7. Or step 6. You're not a perfectionist. You're a woman of excellence. Can I give you a little clip notes of what's coming?
Please. I love that line.
So
this happened one more time for the people in the chick seats.
You're not a perfectionist. You are a woman of excellence. And I was in my mid-40s when I recognized this one, because maybe you've been able to achieve the perfection thing. Seems like you've pretty much got your act together. I never was. I was never able to even have all A's and B's on my report card. I always had this floating C. Drove my mother nuts. She was a straight A student.
I was,
and I couldn't
all
even
A's
get all A's
with B for sport.
Yeah, right. So my mom's blood type is A positive. She calls it A plus, and I'm like, that would be appropriate because you got straight A's. I couldn't even get A's and B's. Okay, so you got a little bit of grace in there. So I knew from a young age I wasn't hitting the mark. I wasn't getting that perfection. When I was young. And in my mothering as a stay-at-home mom, like I probably got the close to an A plus because like I was ready for that. That was like my Super Bowl. And I loved those years of being a stay-at-home mom of those little kids, but there was no one there to give me an A plus. So, there was that. And even though I couldn't attain it, there's always this expectation of like, I should be doing better. It's not quite perfect. You paint a whole room and someone would come in and go, oh, there's a little spot there you missed. I said, dang it, tried so hard, but I missed the mark. And what happened by the time I got to my end of my 30s was I was trying so hard to get approval from others that I was doing a good job, that I was judging myself and others for the lack of perfection that I had. And in my 40s, when I realized, stop, like, why are you even striving for this? I always put forth excellent effort, but with dyslexia and all these things, like I'm never going to look like I could spell perfectly. There's always going to be a grammar problem in everything that I do. So I hire editors as my very first hire, because I know that is a weakness. There is no joke. I have a podcast. I mean, I have published 6 books with lots of editors, but I podcast regularly. No big deal, because I can verbally express myself. I just can't necessarily get that perfectly into the written word. So I am a woman of excellence. Now, what shifted when I started replacing perfection with excellence is I started to give myself and everyone else around me grace. And so a couple of months ago, my husband said to me, he goes, "You don't judge anybody." And I said, "No, and I don't even judge myself." He goes, "How do you do that?" And I said, "Because I give myself and everyone around me grace, because I am doing everything with excellent effort, and I just assume they are too. But none of us are perfect."
So imagine if the world was made up of people like you. You are such a wonderful person. Your energy is so contagious, and you've just pinpointed why, because of that removal of judgment. That whole section, I'm going to have to rewind and listen to. Light bulb moments there. I have been a perfectionist for years, and even the painting thing. I am so anal when it comes to painting. I've painted my mum's house multiple times, mine. I don't miss a spot. But what I'm realizing as I get older is that perfectionists don't necessarily make the most successful people. And I think it was Richard Branson. I'm pretty sure he's dyslexic, and his principal said you're either going to be in jail or be a billionaire. Because what I'm realizing is you don't have to be perfect at everything. And when you own companies, you hire people to do the things where you lack. And I'm also realizing that 80% and done is better than 100% and not done. And I've always procrastinated because I want the perfect set of circumstances. And now I'm sort of just like, well, that'll just do. But I used to not be able to sleep if, speak of the wardrobe, for instance, everything was color coded and finger spaced in my wardrobe. But that's not getting me my goals. And I really like the way you are a woman of excellence and you don't need A's and B's. And, I am a bit funny about the school system. I think it's a bit of creating a society of sheep. You're really just going there to learn the basics. And very often the most successful people and the entrepreneurs are either the people that didn't do that well or dropped out. So that whole section that you've just said is light bulbs. I love that you've framed it as a woman of excellence, not the perfectionist, but you don't need to be brilliant at everything. And the report cards, I think, can just place a lot of pressure on kids, and unnecessarily so. Just because the writing wasn't your strong point doesn't mean you're not brilliant at so many other things. And report cards can sort of highlight weaknesses, I think.
Yeah. It's same in your house. So I take that a little bit further when we look at our housework and thinking, why are you even doing what you're doing? Are you doing it because you like it? Are you doing it because you like that aesthetic? Are you doing it because that brings you joy? Or are you doing it because your mother did it, your grandmother did it, you saw a friend, you saw an Instagram post, and you thought maybe that'd be a great idea in your house.
Yes.
And now you and your spouse are arguing over something that wasn't even your idea anyway. And you're like, how did I get in this situation?
Yes. But that's a really good point. I'm always saying you got to tap into the self. And one of them is asking, do I enjoy this? Is this bringing me joy?
Right.
That's why I actually like that Marie Kondo thing of sparking joy. I think that's really true in all areas of your life. Sometimes you're on just autopilot and you're doing things because you saw someone else do them or because you thought that's what you should do. And is it really what lights me up? And also, you just back to your earlier point, you don't have to be good at everything. I think that's a ridiculous thing that I've had in my mind, that I just wanted to be good at every single thing I do. And, sometimes that's taking me away from focusing what I'm great at. So, and delegation is very, very important. And the most successful business people do that. And that's really good to translate that into the home. So my husband will be grocery shopping this afternoon. He's about to receive a text.
Great. And just be happy with whatever he brings home.
Oh God, you make so much sense. I really feel like you should be coaching so many women. You make so much sense. Honestly, most people think that they're bad at organizing, but you say it's not about discipline, it's about systems. What are we getting wrong?
The way that we are sold organization is a design aesthetic. We are not actually taught how to get organized, or what organized people feel like, or what it feels like to be done organized. We are sold a minimalism, declutter and have less stuff, buy these certain containers that all match or are rainbow ordered, use these special stickers so that all of your fonts match and all of your labeling. Nothing in my house is labeled. I don't have any matching bins, but my house is very organized. So organization is actually an executive function of our brain. And we organize our spaces so that we can find things so we can keep setting and attaining our goals. Like that is what organization is. And when you are functionally organized, you know where your stuff is and you could find it and you don't waste time looking for things. That's it. That's the sum total of organization. But we have been sold because we can sell containers, we could sell all these other things. Now, along with that, there aren't good systems in the home. That is true. And that's not something people are selling other than me. Like I sell operational systems in the household, just like you would buy operational systems for your business.
To give people a visual, what are some examples of a bad organization system?
The majority of us, I venture to say all of us in our household, have DIY, done it yourself, or cobbled together some kind of structure. You mentioned that you fill the diaper bag and then you get the little lunchbox ready and then you're getting ready for the daycare. You figured out what was going to go in that diaper bag. Like you either went on Instagram or you're like, oh shoot, we didn't have any wipes last time. Okay, that's now on the checklist. Can't miss the wipes. And we got to have all these other things. And so you know what goes in that diaper bag, one, by learning by not having it and probably looking up some list on Instagram. And then making a little checklist, and maybe you have it in your phone or you have it on an index card, or you have a certain bag where everything goes in all the pockets and you look at all the pockets to make sure that the bag is full, right?
Yep.
And every single mom has figured that out on their own since the beginning of time.
Yes.
And so when you have something that happens in your household, you're pregnant, you now go to the pregnancy boards and you learn all about everything that's related to pregnancy and then having a baby and all of that. And so when you find out that you're the executor of an estate, you go to Google and you're like, help me be the executor of a estate. And all you get are estate lawyers. You know what they are? Not very good at helping you get organized. There is no like dummy proof. Here's my checklist. Here's my scavenger hunt in my parents' house to try to figure out how to start settling their estate that I didn't even know I was the executor of until an hour ago. And so our whole entire household life is very predictable. Like you're going to settle an estate. You're, going to take care of parents. You're going to live in a household. You're going to have to replace your HVAC unit. You're going to need to buy new appliances. Like all of these things people have done over and over and over again, but there's no system for it. There's no cadence for it. And so every time we have a thing to do, we go to the hardware store, or we go to Instagram or Pinterest and get the checklist. And then we're like, okay, apparently this is part of my job now. I'll add this in, I'll add this in, I'll add this in. And I'm saying, no, we have a whole productive home CEO theoretical framework. We are running the largest small business in the world. Like the economic impact of the household is how the entire world runs. Why are we not putting operational systems inside of our households like we would in business? Why are we not thinking about working on our business and in our business and strategic planning and all of those things in our households like you would in business? You grow up, as your business grows, you need to add a CFO. You need to start doing accrual accounting instead of cash accounting. Like when you start in business, you know where you are and where you're going. And in a household, you're like, I don't know. And then on a Tuesday, you find out, oh, great. Guess what? You're now this age and you have to have all these doctor's appointments. Why did I not know that? Like, why was it not in the manual somewhere? Where's the manual? It's just a whole big game of gotcha. Like, I missed the mark. Okay, I'll go research. I'll figure it out, and I'll add it to my list of things that I do, my responsibilities that I do.
Great. Okay, so everyone needs to read your book linked in the show notes to to figure out their systems. You've done research into how household management impacts our cognitive load. How is mental clutter affecting our ability to think, create, and show up in our lives? And before you answer it, I want to jump in and say, I remember thinking, why was I so creative when I was a teenager? Or, like I would just daydream all the time and come up, do creative writing and songwriting. I realized it's because I just didn't have all this other mental load weighing me down. And when I look at our youth and I look at them with envy, it's not for their skin, because I get a bit of Botox anyway. My skin looks pretty good. But it's honestly, it's for the lack of responsibility that they have, that they're allowed the space to create.
So cognitive load, mental load, these are all parts of our executive function. So our executive function, when you have enough deficits in executive function, that's where the diagnosis of ADHD comes from. And that diagnosis comes from, just surveys that you fill out. It's not like a blood test that you take. And my theoretical orientation is that we can improve our executive function. And that's part of the research I want to set out to do. And I think that the products that I have does increase our bandwidth and our cognitive load. And if I can find statistical support for this and then start doing additional studies, we will have come up with a non-pharmaceutical intervention for ADHD in adults. We have plenty of them in children, but we don't have any for adults. So what is executive function? It is 8 things. The 8 executive functions are, and it's helpful when you hear these because then it helps you with where maybe you have strengths and weaknesses, because we all have strengths and weaknesses. So things that our executive function does is, number 1, flexible thinking. The ability to think about a space that you have in your room. Let's say you have a dining room and now you've been sent home for COVID and you need to work from home, and being able to think about that as an office and turn it into an office. That's flexible thinking. Pinterest really helps with that, by the way. Working memory is the big one. Working memory is the ability to hold information in your head while you're doing something else. So you see something really cool on Instagram and you decide you want to buy it. So you start buying it, and then it sends a code to your email. So you have to go over to your email and find the 6-digit code and remember the code, and then go back to Instagram and type in that code. That is your working memory. But the clincher is usually we get a text message during that time, which interrupts our working memory. Our working memory can only hold about 10 things in it, 10-digit phone number. That's why phone numbers are 10 digits. So we can't really expand working memory beyond that.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you're shoving it full of random stuff, then your working memory gets used up. Self-monitoring. Did you want to say something about that?
Social media and internet being in your hand all the time. It's so much overload. And the last week, there's this thing I've seen influencers have called a brick, where you can brick your phone. And I looked at it, I'm like, and I was going to get it. I'm like, am I that far gone that I need to spend $100 to prevent myself? So I did this thing. This is what I used to do all the time. And I don't agree with diet culture, but I used to be like, if I eat this, I'm not going to become this, whatever my goal was. So I said, I'm now only checking my phone once in the morning and in the evening when I do my social media posts. And all throughout business hours, I don't open any social apps. And I go, if I do, I won't achieve whatever I'm not going to repeat it because it's personal, my career goal and my financial goal. I haven't touched it in those hours in a week. I have gotten so much done. And it's not even about being productive. It's about not feeling scattered in my brain.
Yes, you're able to focus. Disciplined. Yes. You're being disciplined.
Yes.
Yeah. And I won't go through all of them, but organization is one. This is how your brain works. Now, working memory, we're going to line these up as line leaders. Working memory is first in line and hogs all of your attention. So if you're bouncing from social media to the text to this, and you're holding all these things in your head, then you don't really get the benefit of any of the other executive functions because you're so busy, like doing all the The last executive function, and she stands back there just, bouncing her little curls in line and almost never gets to play, is planning. Planning is an executive function. She won't play if anybody else is playing because she needs your undivided attention in order to work. And she has a higher level executive function. So if you have lower level things going on, she can't engage in your brain. So the main way to really help move yourself forward is to stop everything, plan what you're going to do, and then execute without the distractions in a focused way.
Yes, I love that so much. And it's a planning in advance it's almost like it takes that extra work away from you. So I had a guest the other week, I haven't aired it yet, but he was talking about, like, say you have a mother's group, and if you say we're going to meet every Wednesday at 10 a.m., it pretty much just happens. But if you're like, we'll text to catch up, it never happens because you're having to use that brain power to do the planning each time. Whereas if it's pre-planned and it's set, all you really have to do is show up.
Yeah.
Right? Is that sort of what you're talking about?
The decision is made. Yeah, and when you're doing planning, let's say even the night before for tomorrow, like you were doing with getting everything ready for your son, except for waking him up, like everything was done and planned the night before.
Yes.
Then when you wake up, you're just running a script that you've already written. Yes. Like there's no effort. It's just very effortless unless the kid didn't wake up, and then now the script is bad and the producer's been called and somebody's getting fired. Sounds like your husband.
Way to put it. It is a script. It is a script, and we're just following suit. Like my body just knows. It's time to meditate. It's time to do a workout. It's time to put the dishes away. It's not like I got to check my book. What do I need to do now? Like it's a script. Yeah, I love that. This is why I like planning. It takes that decision making away from me. But it's like my brain's only good in the morning. So if my husband wants me to like really read something or if I have to learn something new and it's after, say, 3 p.m., I'm like, no. That's for tomorrow. I can't. Like my brain
No,
can't.
I can't either.
I just can't. It's really only morning, and I'm not a caffeine drinker, so it just needs to be fresh. I had a great sleep last night. My first good proper sleep night through without my son waking up and crying. So I'm feeling
Congratulations. We should just have a moment to celebrate.
Can you see the smile on my face?
Yes, I can.
When I saw the sleep stats, it was like 7 hours and 96%. I've honestly never broken the 83%, so I am so delighted.
Nice job.
I know. In your new book, Escaping Quicksand, you talk about prioritizing your own needs alongside your family's. And you touched on the putting your oxygen mask on first before. I say that so often in every episode. Why is that so hard for women, and what does that actually look like in practice?
Yeah. So how do you think putting your oxygen mask on first looks for you?
Well, for instance, I do take care of my needs before others, and I say I do so unapologetically because I'm just not good. So what's a good example? I can't think of something straight away, but like if I'm really hungry and I can't focus, I'll feed myself first because then I'll be frantic and get low blood sugar. Like it might sound selfish, but there's so many instances during the day where I'll just take care of me first. So even like doing a workout, if my son's up and wants me to play with him, I'm like, no, I'm going to get this workout done because I know I'll be able to play with him all day.
That's so great. I'm so glad I asked because, and it could be a generational thing too. I think that's such a healthy and awesome answer. It's not the way I was raised or what I thought self-care was or what my friends thought self-care was. We thought self-care was going to the spa day, getting a bubble bath, maybe going and getting your nails done. It wasn't really our orientation to do exactly what you just said. I didn't start working out till I was 52, but that's a whole nother story. So as I was getting my PhD, I had, and I often will see pictures. I saw this picture of the St. Louis Arch. It's just this big arch in my head. And at the bottom of each end of the arch was childcare and elder care. And I understand as an early childhood person, like what it means to take care of a child. Like you need to take care of their food needs and their laundry, and you need to make sure that they have a healthy place to live. But also you're going to invest in their education, their recreation, their social, emotional, and spiritual development. Like you're going to take care of all of them, their entire self. And you do the same with your parents or grandparents when you need to step in and care for them as well. It's not just like you give them 3 meals a day and make sure they have clean clothes and you lock them in a room. No, you like, there's an activities room and there's like all these things that we do for adults. Us as ourselves from 18 to let's say 88, we are responsible for that for ourselves, exactly how you expressed it. If you and the child are hungry, feed yourself and then the child. Or, give yourself a bite and the child a bite as you're making the meal simultaneously. The way I did it was I would feed the kids and then, oh my gosh, we're off to the next place. I didn't even eat myself and I grabbed just like a protein bar on the way out the door. And it wasn't a protein bar because they didn't exist back then because I'm old. It was like a candy bar. I was grabbing on the way out the door.
There was a nut in it.
Yeah, there was a nut. It was a Snickers. I thought Snickers were healthy. It's got peanuts. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. But I think that for me, at least, when and wanting to be a stay-at-home mom and putting all of my effort into raising my kids, it was a big shift for me to then say, now I'm going to start this company. And then I'm actually going to work from where the warehouse is. I'm not going to work from home and be able to let the dog out. And now I'm going to start traveling. And my family's like, what is going on? This is not your job description that we signed up for. I'm like, but it's evolved and this is what it is now. And I had to be able to say that this is self-care. Like I even say getting my PhD is self-care. I am a lifelong learner. I am a nerd. I love to learn. There's no reason I had to get a PhD. I wanted to. And Dan Sullivan says, I want to is a complete sentence. Like you can want things just because you want to.
I love that.
We spend so much time as women learning that no is a complete sentence. We don't have to justify why we're saying no. Well, I got good at saying no, but then I didn't feel I had permission to then just want things because I wanted them. And yet when my kids want to like take piano lessons, I'm like, okay. Like, and I shell out the money. Do I have a concert pianist around here? No. Do I have a professional football player? No, but we did many years of football, basketball, soccer, gymnastics. Like we did all of the things, all of which cost time and money, and we have no return on that investment, right? We're going to get a return on my PhD investment. I can tell you that for sure.
Yes.
But I just wanted to. Like I just wanted to. Like I'm doing Pilates
Even
now.
if you don't get a return on the investment,
Yeah.
that's what you wanted.
It is what I wanted. And so being able to say, because I want to, is also okay. Now, if I'm doing that and I'm not taking care of my kids and we don't have the money and we don't have the time and I'm just like, well, because I want to, that's different. I'm not doing that. And I don't think anyone else is either. But sometimes we perceive that that's being said, or sometimes our family members take it that way, even though we're like, no, I time track. I know how much time you're getting. You're still getting 20 hours a week, but you're not getting 25 anymore. And you're all put upon that you don't have enough time. But I am spending plenty of time. It's okay if I take some of the time for something that I want to do just because I want to do it.
And not only is it okay, it just makes you more fulfilled, happier, and you show up better. The whole premise of this podcast is, filling up your cup. And, that image of you running out the house, not feeding yourself, having a candy bar is like, I feel sad. No, I feel sad picturing that because and I did that when he was little. I remember I was trying to figure out, because the naps are so frequent and the feeding. And I remember coming home and I have to eat every few hours and just feeling this dizziness. But I had to get his food first. And then I would just be so dizzy by the time it was time for me to eat. And now I've gotten into a better flow. But, it's not selfish. And a lot of the times we might get some judgment because, the ideal woman used to sacrifice for others. But sometimes it's all in our heads. But then that's not our fault either because, we grew up in society. I did too, where it was conditioned into us that you had to sacrifice. And it's still so prevalent because when actresses are on the red carpet, they're asking, how do you balance motherhood and acting? They don't ask any actors that. And then if a woman's out doing something, the comments on Instagram are, where are your children?
Where are the kids? Where are the kids?
When would anyone say that?
Oh, they're playing in the street with sharp things and rockets. Last night checked.
Oh, they'll be fine. Yeah.
They'll be fine. I don't know. You might see them on the news. Let me know if you do.
But it's just so vital to, and I'm not saying when I do that, I don't feel some guilt. So I used to go to the gym all the time and I've pivoted and I do a lot of my circuits here in the living room on a mat with my weights and I, throw Mickey Mouse on for him and I do like a 45-minute circuit. And I'm not saying that I don't feel a pang of guilt when he, and sometimes I'll stop and he wants me to dance with him and then I'll go back to it. But I know I have to make calls that he can't see yet, but he will one day, that I am happier and healthier for the whole day and his whole childhood when I invest that time in myself. And yes, would it be ideal that I get that workout done when he's still sleeping? Yes, but is every day ideal?
But
No.
you got a 96 on your sleep score. You can't get a 96 on your sleep score if you're working out at 5 a.m.
That's right. And I now allow myself to snooze for an hour because I know I'll be sharper if I get that sleep. So not every day is ideal, and sometimes I have to make calls that he'll cry at me in the moment, but when he's older, he'll realize that I did what I had to do. Like taking the scissors off him. When he cries, he'll realize when he's older, she did what she had to do. So it's so important for women to take that time to fill up their cups and do so unapologetically. And there might be people that judge, but we've just got to block out that white noise, truly. Yeah. For someone listening who feels completely overwhelmed right now, what's one simple system or shift they can implement this week to start getting their time and energy back?
So I really challenged myself. I kept listening to different marketing podcasts and marketers, and they're like, you have to be able to get a win for people in 15 minutes in your company. I was like, come on, this is like a 3-year program. There's no way I can distill this down into a 15-minute win. And I was like, all right, Lisa, you can be stubborn and say there's no way you can do that, or you're the expert, figure it out. Like, how do you get them in a 15-minute win? So I pushed myself and I decided it was the evening 15-minute pivot, and you can find it organized365.com/pivot. And it is this idea of when you are completely overwhelmed, you are maxed out, you have no idea how you're going to survive tomorrow, and you take 15 minutes and I walk you through 10 different steps to plan your day tomorrow. So I start by having you look at your calendar tomorrow and literally write it out on a piece of paper. There's a printable that you can put out. Then you go and you check the weather, like you're in 4th grade and you're like, oh, it's going to rain. I didn't even know. And then you pick out your clothes and then you think through your food. What are you going to eat? And you write it down when you're going to eat it. Then you look back and you go, okay, there's no teleporting yet. So we're going to have to drive to the places we need to go when you're going to put in driving. And by the time you're done, it might take 10 to 15 minutes, but you have a script for tomorrow and you've thought through and you've made so so many decisions that if you wake up 5 minutes late and then you get dressed and you walk outside and it's raining, you're like, oh shoot, I didn't know that, but we're already late. Like in Cincinnati, Ohio, when it rains, you would think it was, sleeting and snowing cats and dogs out here. Like people can't drive in the rain around. There are always accidents. It's going to take twice as long. And so you need to know that. So now you're 5 minutes late, now you're 15 minutes late, and your whole entire day is ruined, right? And so that is the one thing you can do in 15 minutes where you start to live an organized, planned life from the moment you wake up. And yes, you're going to need to keep doing it each night, but that is the first step to living and seeing what it feels like to living that planned, organized life.
I love that. And that's my go-to thing. Just before bed and as soon as I wake up is Google Cronulla weather. And I like plan the outfits around it. I said to my husband, it's pouring rain now, but it's going to be 21 and that's warm-ish for us. And sunny later, so I don't think I'll put him in the long pants. I think I'll do the shorts. And now all of a sudden the sun's come out and it's warm and I'm like, yes, I'm so glad I put him in the shorts. I love to pre-plan my day. It just makes me so grateful to the night before, Steph, because then everything just runs well. I don't know how people just wake up and just let the day take them where it takes them. Like I have to have things like planned for it to be successful. So that's really great advice. And I do urge everyone to check out your book, Escaping Quicksand, which will be linked in the show notes as well. And I'll link everything for you, your website and your Instagram and everything. Lisa, this podcast is all about filling up your cup, as you know. What's something you'll be doing for yourself in the next week to fill up your cup?
So a couple of years ago, I was really busy with the PhD. The grandchild, was in the toddler years. And when I came home from work, I was working late, came home from work to help my daughter with her son, and I went to bed all summer long. And one of my favorite things is to come home from work and go sit on our back patio and just sit there and scroll my phone or read or talk to my husband or whatever, but do it outside. Because I work in an office now. I didn't used to when I was a stay-at-home mom, so I don't have that outside time. And by the time I got to September, I realized I had maybe only sat outside 5 times that whole entire summer. And I so regretted that. And that whole winter, I was like, oh, now I got to wait 9 months before I can have that opportunity again.
Yes.
So one thing that I am doing now is as soon as I come home, if I'm not working late, I literally just walk through the house straight outside. And everybody's like, where are you going? I was like, and I say to the grandchild, Grayson, get your shoes on. We're going on the play set. Like we go straight outside. And my daughter and the baby and my husband end up, coming out there. And I'll just sit there for 90 minutes, just whatever. I just love it. And I feel like a flower that's finally getting her little sun of the day.
Oh, Lisa, I love that so much. And I did say that to my husband this week. There's something about being outdoors that makes people more present because when you're indoors, the TV's going, there's chores to do.
Yeah.
And it's just so much easier to do that in warmer weather. So we're getting into, actually this weekend will click over into winter for us. And it's not particularly cold in Sydney, but it's just less social and less relaxing time, I find, because I implemented this thing in the afternoons around 2 or 3 p.m. I would take the picnic blanket. We're in an apartment block, but we have this gorgeous yard that everyone shares, lots of neighbours with kids, great neighbours that are friends. And I would take Leo down, my son, on the picnic blanket, and I would sometimes I'd read, but I would do work. Like I would edit the reels for my podcast, but I would do it guilt-free because he would then play and run around. Sometimes we'd draw pictures and the neighbour kids would come down and play with him. I would come upstairs and my cup felt just so full because I had, a bit of vitamin D, and then I'd lay on my back and look at the trees or watch the clouds. And I'm missing that so much now that it's just that little bit colder. I can't do it. But I did say that this afternoon, once I'm done with my podcasting and editing, I'm going to sit on my balcony and read a book. I'm just going to sit and give myself that time whilst I send my husband out to do the grocery shopping.
That's right. That's right. And when my former self would say, I see all these Instagram or posts about how, if you see the first sun of the day, like go out and put your bare feet on grass and the first sun of the day is the best way and you'll live forever. And, like angels will come down from heaven if you do this perfect morning routine thing. And so even as I was saying that to you, I was going, oh, but if I was doing it in the morning, it would be better. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. You guys, whenever it fits into your day and your schedule, I mean, maybe it's a different sunlight and people will be like, scientifically, whatever. Science is always changing its mind. Yeah. This is when I can fit it in my day. This is how it works for me. This is what I'm going to do.
Never a wrong time to take that moment for yourself. I do like the morning sun because it clicks in that circadian rhythm so that you get better sleeps if you see the sun in the morning. But But even if the sun's gone down, I love moon watching. So I take my son out. I'm like, the moon's here, and we'll either go to the balcony or go outside and look at the moon. There's something about having a little bit of nature before bed that really just, nothing inside the house can get me in that mood like the outdoors does. So I love that. You enjoy your time on the patio. I have enjoyed our chat so much. You are such a beautiful person. And the two things that really stood out for me were how you talked about not judging yourself or others and how it gives yourself grace. I really loved that so much. Oh, what was the other thing that you said? It really stood out for me, and now it's escaped my memory. It'll come back, but definitely also taking that time for yourself, unapologetic. It'll come back to me. I know what it was. There were two things that really stood out, but that having grace with yourself and others is just a beautiful thing to have, and I really wish more people would be like that. I think it would be a far beautiful world. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
And everybody, do check out the show notes for everything for Lisa. I'll have it all linked, and please do something in the next week to fill up your cup.